Welcome back to the Knock-On Effect, the rugby show where we say what the pundits won't. Munster dug deep in what has to be remembered as an instant classic as we come out victorious against Rog's La Rochelle. What a match it was. We're going to be going through all the talking points and giving our reaction to an utterly brilliant game of rugby. Let's get stuck in. So heading into this one, I think I fell in with the majority of Munster fans. The team sheet was looking strong, La Rochelle haven't been playing their best rugby, and I was hopeful. La Rochelle came out all guns blazing. Rog had them well fired up for this one. The warning shot was fired within the first minute as they scored only to have the try ruled out for a foot in touch. It wasn't the first time the referee needed to rely on his team, but we'll speak about him later. Every time we got on the ball, we seemed to spoil the party with a knock-on or poor decision. This kept the pressure on us, and La Rochelle kept knocking at the door. Jeremy Lockman went off injured early, which hopefully wasn't too serious, but I didn't see it. Aldreet made a fantastic break, and subsequently Andrew Smith attempted to poach the turnover and gave away a penalty. The ref saw his hand on the ground as a cynical action and yellow carded the Munster winger. Harsh to say the least. I've hated the hands on ground rule from the moment it was brought in. It's hard enough to poach a ball as is, but to give a yellow card when there was plenty of cover? Jesus, way too far in my opinion. La Rochelle put the ball in the corner, won the line out, and after some hard carries, got the scoring underway. 7-0. They looked in great form in the early moments, but Munster did incredibly well to fight their way back into the match. Isaiah West received a yellow card for a head-on-head collision when the ref finally listened to Tyke Burns' plea. The momentum swung back in favour of Munster, with help from Takir Abrams. The Munster fullback used his explosive pace to expose the space and set Craig Casey away under the posts. 7-all, a try apiece and a yellow card apiece. It was during this period that arguably Munster could have scored more. La Rochelle's defence was fantastic, and Munster were unfortunate with some handling errors. West was reintroduced, and Munster had their backs against the wall coming up to the end of the first half. La Rochelle chose to take their points after some dangerous attacks from Jack Knowles and Teddy Thomo. 10-7 to La Rochelle at the break. Skelton and Aldreet were phenomenal in the first 40 minutes, constantly sucking in the Munster defence just to release the wide players into space. Munster's Hodnett, Klein and O'Mahony did very well to disrupt the La Rochelle ball, however, while Casey and Crowley controlled territory brilliantly. Undoubtedly, Abrams had the moment of the half, however, with his explosive run. The second half gets underway and the blow for blow continues. Nash immediately wins the penalty and Crowley splits the uprights, drawing the scores level. La Rochelle take their turn of attacking, but Munster's brilliant scramble defence stops an almost certain Teddy Thomo try. Again, Crowley looked to favour territory over possession. This time it pays off big, with Coombs blocks down the La Rochelle clearance and comes up with a try of his own. Munster kept up the pressure, and when Casey looked to exploit the blindside, La Rochelle's Ludes deliberately knocks on the ball and was sent to the bin. Coombs drove the maul close, but it was Casey's lightning pass that gifted Andrew Smith a try in the corner. Tom Ahern came on and put in a big shift with a handful of big tackles and line-out steals. Abrams unfortunately left the field to play, which was extremely unfortunate given how well he'd played. Hopefully it's only precautionary. La Rochelle began building the pressure and Munster began infringing. A La Rochelle maul was deemed to have been brought down by the officials. The ref seemed to have his mind made up from the get-go that Burns collapsed the maul and he hadn't even seen a replay at that stage. Wait, no, not Byrne. Maybe 23? Or was it 8? I'm not really too sure. Here's a random yellow card for Kendallin and a penalty try. Fuck off. For me, it looked as though Skelton was short of the line and ripped the ball back to avoid being held up. You could have made a case that Byrne was in at the side, but I struggle to see how Kendallin even remotely infringed. It was a really weird decision from the ref, just strange and unclear. This brought the score within a try, but again Crowley proved why he earned man of the match. An intelligent and well executed drop goal put us again out of reach. La Rochelle weren't done yet though, and they really made us work for it, fighting their way back once again with a fantastic cross-field kick, touched down by Bosmarin. A point in it with minutes left. Kendallin returned to the field to play. Tygburn won a turnover as the fields of Athenry were heard on the broadcast. La Rochelle had one last play. Fineen Wycherley will count his lucky stars as the ref deemed his high tackle fair as the player is falling into him. Do you know, I didn't see it that way, but you know what, ref? Fair enough, we'll take your word on it. Crowley puts the ball into the stands and final whistle is blown. 25-24 to Munster. What a fantastic match for the neutrals. It severely affected my heart health though, I'll tell you that. At the end of the day, it's a fantastic win for Munster. We really stood up to the fight and showcased some intelligent and well executed rugby. Crowley was fantastic. He controlled the game brilliantly and kept the pressure on La Rochelle. Casey drove us around the pitch. Coombs, what about Coombs? He showed everybody on a big stage what he's capable of. Hodnett was his usual workhorse. Byrne led us excellently. O'Mahony set the tempo. The backs were solid in defence and clinical when called upon. Mike Prendergast has done exceptionally well with this squad to lead us to this moment. This is a team with an identity. It honestly really reminded me of the Munster from the 2000s. Full of fight, full of heart, up front with the forwards and driven around by a brilliant halfback combination. For all the shit, for all the nonsense that has been spoken about Munster and our players this year, this win is massive. We're in the Champions Cup quarter-final. I hope you enjoyed the match, and as always, cheers for watching. Catch you at the next one.